Imagine your body is like a car, and food is its fuel. When we eat, our body breaks down food into a type of sugar called glucose. This glucose travels in our blood and is meant to enter our body's cells to give them energy. To get the glucose from the blood into the cells, our body needs a special key. This key is a hormone called insulin, which is made by an organ called the pancreas. Insulin unlocks the doors to our cells, letting the glucose in so we can have the energy to walk, think, and live. Diabetes is a condition that happens when this entire system goes wrong, and the body cannot use its fuel properly. So, what happens when this key, insulin, doesn't work as it should? In a person with diabetes, one of two things goes wrong. Either the pancreas does not produce enough insulin, meaning there are not enough keys to go around, or the body's cells stop responding to the insulin that is being made. This is like the locks on the cell doors becoming rusty and refusing to open, even when the key is there. In both situations, the glucose cannot get into the cells. It gets stuck in the bloodstream, causing blood sugar levels to rise much higher than they should be, which can lead to serious health problems over time. There are a few different types of this condition. The first is type 1 diabetes, which often starts in childhood. In this type, the body's own defense system mistakenly attacks and destroys the cells in the pancreas that make insulin. This means the person has almost no insulin at all and needs to take insulin injections every day to survive. The second, and far more common type, is type 2 diabetes. This usually develops in adults, though we are now seeing it in younger people too. Here, the body either doesn't make enough insulin, or more often, the body's cells ignore the insulin. This is the type that is becoming a massive problem in India today. Another type to know about is gestational diabetes, which can happen to some women during pregnancy. Their bodies can't make enough insulin to meet the extra needs of pregnancy, causing their blood sugar levels to rise. While it often goes away after the baby is born, it puts both the mother and the child at a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes later in life. Understanding these different forms is the first step, but it is the dramatic and alarming rise of type 2 diabetes across the Indian subcontinent that requires our most urgent and focused attention. This is not just a health issue, it is a national crisis in the making. India is currently facing what many experts are calling a diabetes epidemic. The numbers are truly staggering, with millions of people now living with the condition, and millions more at high risk of developing it. This makes India the diabetes capital of the world. But why is this happening so quickly? The answer lies in a combination of factors, where our ancient genetic makeup is colliding with our modern, rapidly changing lifestyles. It is a perfect storm that is causing this health crisis to grow at an alarming rate, affecting families and communities across the entire nation, from bustling cities to quiet villages. A major reason for this surge is the dramatic shift in how people in India live. In just a couple of generations, life has changed completely. Many people have moved from physically demanding jobs in farming or manual labor to sitting at desks in offices for long hours. Children who once played outdoors for hours are now spending more time indoors with smartphones, video games, and televisions. This sharp drop in daily physical activity means our bodies are not burning the fuel we consume. This sedentary lifestyle is a huge contributor to weight gain, particularly around the stomach area, which is a major risk factor for developing type 2 diabetes. Alongside the decrease in physical activity, our diets have also undergone a massive transformation. Traditional Indian meals, which were often balanced with whole grains, lentils, and fresh vegetables, are being replaced. Fast food, sugary drinks, and processed snacks packed with unhealthy fats and refined carbohydrates are now easily available and very popular. These modern foods cause a rapid spike in blood sugar levels, putting a huge strain on the pancreas to produce more and more insulin. Over time, this constant demand can wear the pancreas out or make the body's cells resistant to insulin's effects, paving the way for type 2 diabetes to take hold. Furthermore, modern life in India has become increasingly stressful. The pressures of work, long commutes in traffic, financial worries, and the fast pace of city living all contribute to chronic stress. When we are stressed, our bodies release stress hormones that can cause blood sugar levels to rise. Constant, long-term stress can therefore directly contribute to the development of diabetes. It disrupts our sleep, affects our food choices, and makes it harder to find the time or motivation for exercise. This combination of less movement, unhealthier food, and more stress creates a dangerous environment where diabetes can thrive. There is another crucial piece to this puzzle, and it is hidden within our DNA. Scientific studies have shown that people of South Asian descent, including Indians, have a stronger genetic predisposition to developing type 2 diabetes compared to people from other parts of the world, like Europeans. This has been termed the South Asian phenotype. It means that Indians tend to develop diabetes at a younger age and at a lower body weight. An Indian person might be considered at risk for diabetes, even without being visibly overweight by Western standards, because of a tendency to store fat around the organs in the abdomen. This genetic risk factor is sometimes explained by the thrifty gene hypothesis. The theory suggests that for thousands of years, our ancestors may have lived through cycles of feast and famine. Their bodies adapted to be incredibly efficient at storing fat and energy during times when food was plentiful, to help them survive during times of scarcity. This was a brilliant survival mechanism for the past. However, in today's world where food is constantly and abundantly available, this thrifty ability to store fat easily becomes a major disadvantage. Our genes, which were designed for a very different environment, are now working against us in our modern world of plenty. The result of this genetic predisposition, meeting a modern lifestyle, is a devastating explosion in diabetes cases. What was once a condition mainly seen in older adults is now becoming alarmingly common in younger people. We are now diagnosing type 2 diabetes in people in their 30s, 20s, and even in teenagers and children. This is a deeply worrying trend because the earlier a person develops diabetes, the longer they have the condition, and the higher their risk of developing serious complications like heart disease, kidney failure, and blindness later in life. It places a huge burden not only on the individual, but also on their families and the healthcare system. It is this powerful interaction between our genes and our environment that fully explains the crisis. Our genetic makeup has not changed, but our way of life has changed at a breathtaking speed. The thrifty genes that kept our ancestors alive are now being exposed to a lifestyle of high-calorie diets and low physical activity, creating the perfect recipe for type 2 diabetes. It is not just about one factor, but the combined force of our genetic heritage and the dramatic lifestyle shifts across India. Understanding this dangerous combination is absolutely essential if we are to find effective ways to prevent and manage this growing health threat. The rapid rise of diabetes in India is not just a collection of statistics. It represents a serious and urgent public health emergency that demands immediate and coordinated action. The combination of a genetic predisposition and a swift transition to modern sedentary lifestyles has created a crisis that is affecting millions of lives and straining our healthcare resources to their very limit. We cannot afford to ignore this challenge any longer, as the consequences of inaction will be felt for generations to come. The future health and prosperity of our nation depend on how we choose to respond to this epidemic today, right now. The solution must be a collective effort, involving individuals, families, communities, and the government. At an individual level, the power of prevention is immense. Simple changes can make a huge difference. Adopting a more balanced diet that includes more whole grains, fruits, and vegetables while cutting down on processed foods and sugary drinks is a vital first step. Making physical activity a part of our daily routine, whether it's a brisk walk, yoga, or playing a sport, is equally important. Even small, consistent efforts to move more and eat better can significantly reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, or help manage it better if already diagnosed. Education and awareness are our most powerful weapons in this fight. We need to ensure that everyone, from school children to grandparents, understands what diabetes is, what causes it, and how it can be prevented. We must bust myths and provide clear, simple information about healthy living. Regular health checkups to screen for high blood sugar are crucial, as pre-diabetes, the stage before full-blown diabetes, is often reversible with lifestyle changes. By catching the problem early, we can prevent many people from ever developing the full condition, saving lives and reducing the burden on our healthcare system. In conclusion, the diabetes epidemic sweeping across India is a complex problem born from the collision of our genes and our rapidly modernizing world. It is a challenge that threatens the health of our people and the strength of our nation. However, it is not an unbeatable problem. Through widespread awareness, a return to healthier traditional eating habits, a renewed commitment to physical activity, and proactive government policies, we can turn the tide against this disease. The time for action is now. We must work together to create a healthier future for India, one where diabetes no longer casts such a long and devastating shadow over our lives.